Hello and welcome to the Retirement Income Institute Fellows Corner. I'm Suzanne Norman, Director of External Relations. I am thrilled today to have one of our education fellows, Miata Edoga, who is the founder and CEO of Abundance Bound and has built a business over 20 years as a creative herself, but also working with lots of creatives and non-traditional workers to help them get financially fit and definitely prepared for retirement. So welcome, Miata. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. It's great to be here.
Thank you. And we're thrilled that you have just written a new paper for the Institute. So I thought maybe what we could do is just talk generally, but ask you first off, what are some of the traditional, non-traditional workers' hindrances, or what do you see getting in the way of helping them prepare for retirement?
Yes. So, I think the answer really lies in the name non-traditional earners. So much of the education out in the world around preparing for our financial futures is geared towards those individuals who have a steady paycheck, who receive regular income on a regular basis, right? And they know exactly what's coming in. So for non-traditional workers, artists, creatives, entrepreneurs, gig economy workers, freelancers, that stability doesn't actually exist. So what happens is that our income as non-traditional earners is very much like a roller coaster. It has ups, it has downs. And so we have to focus our financial planning in a different way. So I would say that the first challenge is that it's the fact that income happens like this. Also, non-traditional workers tend to not have the job benefits that come from traditional employment. So there's no 401k. There's definitely no employer match. There often aren't benefits, regular health benefits, um, uh, paid time off, vacation leave, all of those things also don't exist for the non-traditional worker. And so that means that we have to take on our particularly retirement planning and benefits planning on our own. So I would say that those are the key challenges, the up and down kind of roller coaster income, and also just the lack of built-in retirement structure that I can plug into and just follow throughout my employment time.
Thank you for that, and all the work that you're doing to help these people that make our world much more enjoyable. And I agree that some of that, obviously, we've talked about before, is very much incumbent upon someone to take on a DIY mentality when we don't have a lot of financial literacy education in our education system. So we appreciate that you're out there helping this very important class of investors.
And it is so important because, as you said, artists and creatives are huge contributors to our culture and to our economy. And financial education, as you and I agree, is important for everyone, but it is particularly important for the class of workers that just don't fall into the very typical structures that exist.
So obviously we could talk for hours about this, but I know with the paper that you've just written for the Institute, you have some good ideas. And actually you also have a success story about how the creatives and the non-traditional workers can actually maybe overcome some of these hurdles. So share with us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, in terms of things that I would encourage non-traditional workers to really focus in on as they're looking at taking control of their retirement, taking control of their financial future. The first place that we want to focus is on your expenses. So I said that as non-traditional workers, our income goes like this, right? So what we have to do is we have to make sure that our expenses do this, right? So I don't really have enough hands to
Mhm.
show you, but as our income is going up and down, we want to do our absolute best to keep our expenses steady so that we're not always living on that roller coaster of spending more, then trying to spend nothing at all, then spending more, trying to spend nothing at all. So the first place is that because we have less certainty around our income, we want to have absolute certainty around our expenses. Okay, so that's the very first thing that I would encourage. And I would look at things, software, like, for instance, Quicken, or You Need a Budget, or Empower is a free software so that you can really track your expenses. Then what we want to do is take advantage of retirement opportunities that we can do as solo entrepreneurs. So things like, first, a Roth IRA, an individual retirement account. We also then, especially in years where you're earning more, I want everybody to look into a SEP retirement plan, a simplified employee pension plan, because all independent workers have the ability to set that up for themselves, or even potentially a solo 401k. So these are ways that we can start putting regular amounts of money into our own retirement vehicles. And again, just factoring that in to our monthly expenses so that we are bit by bit making sure that we're providing for our futures. And then, depending on the kind of non-traditional worker that you are, you want to absolutely look into what pension plans, if any, or retirement opportunities exist, perhaps with unions that you may be a part of, because that is absolutely a way that you can also be contributing for your future. You're aware, and I hope that everybody watching this will take the moment to read the piece that we've just published. But I share a story about a client that I worked with for a long time, who had a long time career as an actor. And she was now in her early 60s and, wasn't working at all as much as she used to. And she was feeling really discouraged as she looked at friends and family who had had more traditional work and the retirement amounts that they had set aside for themselves. But what we discovered is that she had earned a monthly pension that was the equivalent of having quite a bit of money in a retirement account. And it was just so wonderful to see, as she understood what amount she would have needed to have in an investment account to have that guaranteed monthly income that she now has for the rest of her life. And that's the reason why I'm just so happy to be an education fellow for the Alliance for Lifetime Income, because that's what you're focused on. You're really focused on how can we all, as Americans, whether we are non-traditional earners or traditional earners, how can we establish that regular monthly income that not just stabilizes us for our future, but also allows us to experience some of our goals and dreams?
So well said, Miata. I love how you finished with that because we've done so much research on, how we feel. And I know you talk about this in the paper that, there was some shame associated with I haven't saved enough. And then to have that awareness, it's a wonderful success story. But this feeling of safety and security that we know comes from protected income, and whether that's social security, pension, annuity. So thank you so much for sharing this because we have a lot of people that don't have employer kind of experiences and they are, as you say, self-employed. So you've really brought an interesting perspective to the Institute. We're very grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Suzanne.
Welcome. And thanks everyone for listening. And we will be back with another Fellows Corner soon. For those of you interested in reading the paper, you'll see a link on this and please visit protectedincome.org. Thanks for being here.